Good evening. So we are, today is July 17th, 2024. We are debuting, we are going live at 9:21 EST, FMX number 2. Today was a bright and sunny day. Slightly cold in the morning, but still good weather. All right. So we are in part 2 on this illustration. The illustration that we're seeing here is INTL underscore PT number 8. Ziya throwing Frisbee. That's the official description. So where we left off yesterday, um, so all what we did yesterday, it was kind of like a short session. The only thing I was working on is just refining this prop right here, the Frisbee. So let me just get rid of these items for a moment. All I did was I was just refining the shape and the overall line art of this thing. And considering we only did 2 hours, I mean, while there has been progress, it really wasn't like all that much. However, I did the best I can considering the time I had, and of course, what I had to deal with. So, for today, since I have a bit of more time, for today's milestone, the one thing I'm definitely am focusing on is finishing up on the Frisbee itself. So my milestone for today is I want to, let's see. Yeah, so the milestone for today is I want to get the Frisbee itself complete. I want to have the lettering all done, the letterings in the middle, have this colorized, and of course get the textures around this Frisbee itself. That's kind of the main goal that I want to get done for today. And if I have some extra time, then I want to take care of the background itself. Right now, as it stands, it's just basic, nothing too crazy. However, I do want to add like some foliage on the background, maybe add some textures on the buildings themselves, just so there's some more, just so there's something more lively, and I want to add some clouds up above. Ideally, if I have some extra time and if I can do it, I want to add in like an animal, like a seagull, up above. So that's kind of the goal I have. But again, the main milestone I want to complete for today is get the Frisbee done. So that's the idea. Same as usual. I'm going to do 3 rounds, 1 hour each. I'm going to do like a 5 to 15 minute break in between. Um, if I feel like if I feel like I could do it, then we might do one more round. But for now, it's just going to be 3 1-hour rounds. And we got the first person, TweetyBird777. Hello. All right. So to the new person that just came in, right now we're just continuing on this illustration. And again, the milestone I want to complete is the Frisbee. That's the milestone for today. If I can get this done early, then I want to work on the background. So with that being said, let's start working on this thing. So with that, let's see. All right. So let's start with something like a little bit energetic. So let's go with, let's see. And Daniel Chun just came in. Hello. Yeah, let's play some Goldie. All right, just something to start out for round 1. All right, let's go. So where I left off from yesterday is I was just focusing on the outer rings. That was like the biggest hurdle, but since that's all done, now I'm going to take care of the whoop. Yeah, there we go. I want to take care of the letterings. Once I get done with the letterings, then I can focus on colorizing the entire thing, and that's where I can focus on the details inside of the Frisbee. So that's the goal that I have right now. So let's stop talking and actually get to work. Let's see. I'm still adjusting the whole music, background music, so if it's like too loud or too soft, definitely let me know on that part. We go together or we stay. And it looks like someone wants to push me, so alright, I'll do your bidding. We take our chances. Alright, let me just turn it down a bit. There we go. Got this. There we go. Somewhat. Oh, nice to meet you, Shirley. Indeed, Shirley is here. So what I'm doing now is I'm only focusing on the outer. I'm only focusing on like the outer part. I'm not focusing on illustrating or drawing this piece itself because that's where the shuttle will be. Plus, I'm not really sure how the results will be once I get to the colorizing and shading part. So, I mean, worst comes to worst, all this line art is all for nothing, I guess. I guess not all for nothing, but it's like a nice way for me. It's like a nice guideline once I get to the shading part, but that's a bit ahead from where we are right now. I'm starting out like a little bit sloppy, but eventually I'll slowly pick up. Yeah, that might. Yeah, this might need to be rotated for a bit, so we can just do that. Yeah, that makes more sense like that. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good day today, as usual. I mean, for me, so far I'm having a good day. Whoops. I wish I could stay longer, but I'm gonna get to sleep early tonight. Have fun streaming, Ico. All right. Well, sleep well, Dan. I appreciate you on stopping by. Hey, Annie's back. Nice to see you, Annie. You know, I'm just surprised that those emojis are universal on different platforms. That's kind of surprising. Makes me want to do some for myself. Yeah, just to reiterate what I just said for the newcomers. Right now, we're just continuing on finalizing the Frisbee itself. Since I got the outer ring, like the outer shape of it complete, now I'm focusing on finalizing the lettering of the Frisbee. Then I'm going to move on to colorizing it, and then I can get the detail of the stickers inside. That's not good. That makes more sense. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, even the guidelines, I have to be mindful of where the lines go. Sometimes can be a little irritating. There we go. gorgeous. And we got Weemoot. Hello, Weemoot. And I appreciate the follow, Weemoot. Thank you. Alright. Yeah, I know that I know at this part of the illustration we're like kind of in the boring part. Um, I mean, maybe boring to some, but to me it's necessary because, I mean, this is kind of like one of the I guess you can say the focal point, and I want to make sure the detail is accurate and not too jarring because, for what I learned, we people are very easy. Like, at certain times, we tend to overlook certain details and we don't notice this much. But at the same time, we are really good when it comes to spotting certain details, both audio and visual. Especially when it comes to details, it's like at certain times you will know if things looks a little off, whether like something looks uncanny or something that looks kind of like not right. Whether you're drawing something or seeing something on display when you're at like a coffee shop or a restaurant, when you notice something, you know something looks off. And it's always that one little detail that makes the difference, from making it look amateurish to making something like a lot more something that sells. The point, I guess, the best example I can give on that, what I'm trying to talk about, what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to like sound, a lot of us tend, I guess you can say in sound, is you're gonna have to make it good as possible. Like the moment that a tempo looks off, sounds off, or a sound effect doesn't sound right as it should illustrate, then we tend to notice it like immediately. So it's those cases where it's kind of important to ensure that every detail that I'm illustrating makes sense in some way. Like everything has to go accordingly and have some thought into it, because if I tend to overlook certain details, then someone may actually spot it and, let's just say, wouldn't hold a job. Whoa. Come on. Let's get back. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Yeah, I'm just curious. Where, which server did you find my? How did you encounter my streams? Did you encounter through notifications, or through my or roll server? All right, let's not forget this piece. Yeah, that's better, I guess. All right, we have just elapsed 20 minutes from round one. It's kind of incredible, like how time flies on stuff like this. I guess I can add this. The Cintiq that I personally own, it actually has no buttons, like no control buttons whatsoever. I know there exists like a remote control or one that kind of like fancy controller dial thing that most popular artists tend to use. Um, Unfortunately, I don't have the budget yet or the reason to own one. However, at the same time, I had this Stream Deck that honestly I just bought impulsively. And at first, I mean, it worked, but I mostly used it to navigate through folders until I found out I can actually set up hotkeys and controls. And I guess it actually worked out pretty well. And now I've actually been right now its best use of my best use of the Stream Deck is actually using the hotkeys like right now to zoom in and out, bigger brush, switch between erasers, transform, eye drop. Like it is actually surprisingly helpful. And if we want to add, if I want to continue on with equipment, originally before this current setup, at the beginning I was trying to go for like an untraditional way of streaming. And what I mean by that is actually using proper broadcast equipment to do the streaming, from switchboard to audio mixers and that sort of thing. I mean, what I mean by that is I happened to scour around some junk piles and disposal units, and I happened to encounter some professional broadcast equipment that were being thrown away, from mixers to switchers, mostly from legacy cables, from S videos to composites. So I managed to snag them, and while assembling this whole setup in about a month or two ago, I've actually attempted on assembling using that equipment itself. And doing the trial run, let's just say it didn't turn out very well. First off, I was using, let's just say the audio mixer that I was using wasn't even working at all. Like some component inside the motherboard, inside the unit, has been cooked, so I wasn't able to hear anything on the output. Plus, the entire space of it is like a huge mess. It's a huge mess, from composites, XLR cables to SDI cables, like all over the place. So it was like a huge mess, especially having to mix between audio from my microphone to the music itself. Like it was a whole mess. I mean, when I do live broadcasting, it actually works because it's made attention. Like it has to go in a very controlled field and has a good amount of space. But when you're in a confined area like here, you don't have that luxury, and of course, it does take up a lot of resources, which is also a huge negative. So, I guess it's a reason why most people don't have like $1,000 Blackmagic switcher or one of those like $700 audio mixers right next to them, unless you're like a professional, like a high-end professional streamer. Maybe one day, but it's just now I understand why people don't have those equipments traditionally. Oh, and I'll also add this last bit. While testing the microphones using that crappy audio mixer, I kind of almost blew out my ears because I was cranking up the phantom power to the channel and the main mix of the audio mixer, and I was testing out the microphone. And the mic I was using is actually a lavalier mic. I did it because it was like the only microphone I had around with an XLR input. So I was testing it. I was speaking on the mic. I hear nothing. The moment I blew on the mic is, let's say, thank God I wasn't wearing headphones like fully, because that was loud. But yeah, thankfully, I'm through. Thankfully, I have the setup now that actually works. So that's great in that part. how far? What's our progress so far? All right, we're like I guess almost halfway. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, So far, I'm slowly picking up. That's good. So the person you're listening to is Goldie. This is actually a 1 hour mix of him throughout one of the sessions, and I guess you could say he's kind of one of the OGs when it comes to drum and bass. And how I found out about him is like 20 years ago, I've used to listen to drum and bass before it was considered like cool at the time. And one of the songs from him, I tend to listen to a lot. Excuse me a moment. One of the songs I tend to listen to a lot from him is a song called Bush Swallowed. It's a remix done by him. And that song alone, it really, I guess you can say, was one of my childhood songs in a way. And ever since, I mean, I didn't really look out after more of his songs until like years later. And that's where I found out his discography. And it's like, yes, this is exactly the kind of music I will listen to. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the tunes as much as I do. Alright, we're halfway through round one. We have 28 minutes left. Alright, we're slowly picking up the pace. That's good. My hope for round 1 is to complete the lettering, so by round 2, I can focus on just colorizing and texturing the Frisbee. Yeah, I'll take care of this thing later. Actually, I might take care of that in the end. There we go. All right, we got 20 minutes left, and we got this much left. I mean, that's actually good progress. I'm liking this. I'm liking this a lot. That means I can reserve the extra time to just color this all up. Alright, looks a little irregular. That's okay. We'll fix that like this. No, I'm not liking that. Let's fix it. Alright, not bad, not bad. I feel like the space, the kerning between this with the H is irregular, so we can fix that. Yeah, like that. No, it's not, still not right. That's it. That's it. I would have knew that getting all this lettering might be time consuming, but I mean, like I said, it needs to be done. Alright, we're almost there. We're almost there. Earlier you mentioned how getting certain small details right can be essential for how drawing comes off. For me, that's often true to get depictions of characters right. Even ones I drew before, very often I'm looking for whatever might be making a character look off. The contours of the cheeks are often cited by artists as one such example, but for me it can be much more negligible details. Yeah, I mean, definitely when it comes to character aspects and factors, that's also another thing. I guess I can expand on that in a moment after I finish this arc. But I guess actually I can say it now. I mean, I guess I can say it kind of depends like what I'm working at, whether it's like something very complex and highly detailed to something like as simplistic as a character, because when it comes to highly detailed and like here's how I tend to work when it comes to my stuff. It usually when I tend to work on highly detailed and highly complex machinery or a prop or at least a garment in some way, you do have some leniency and some give to take some liberty on certain things. Like maybe you want to add some extra stitches to the garment, maybe you want to add an extra pocket or maybe an extra thread, that sort of thing. So in a way, you can get away a bit on compromising or taking liberty on certain things. But of course, there are certain cases where you cannot. And in fact, I can actually show you Actually, during my break, I can actually show a teaser of one of my illustrations, um, and to help better show what I'm talking about. But what I mean is, one of the sketches I'm currently doing, actually it's on hold, is an illustration called Oswald. It's an illustration featuring Oswald Cullen, but it's him working on one of the embroidery machines. And while I was working on that sketch, it took a while, but most of the time it's just trying to ensure the accuracy of the actual embroidery machine that I took matches by the sketch itself, both on scale, perspective, and of course the parts that's inside the machine itself. The perspective part was the most difficult part because, I mean, there's multiple different angles of the machinery from going one direction to other direction, so that's something I gotta take account on. But most importantly, it's all about scale, like the scale between character Oswald versus him interacting with the machine itself. Because I personally have handled that embroidery machine before. I mean, granted, I haven't done it as much as I hope, but I had a decent knowledge and experience on that embroidery machine in particular. And I actually had to create training videos based on that. The point I'm trying to make here is I want to ensure the accuracy and everything makes sense according to how Oswald is behaving said machinery. Because that machinery ain't like something like a 12-year-old or let's be honest, that machine is not something a 12-year-old, a 10-year-old should be handling. But at the very least, I want to explore in that sort of idea. But the point being is, there's a lot of details and a lot of stuff, a lot of the parts in that embroidery machine itself has a reason and a factor that led to that machine actually working. From the springs of the needle of the thread to the spools up above, and even all the holes on the sides where you can actually add in the lubricants and the oil once you do your daily maintenance. Because yes, and that embroidery machine itself, you actually have to maintain, there's a procedure to maintain it once a week and once a month. And the way you lubricate it and actually maintain it is different on those two occasions. So I have to really ensure that what Oswald is doing and how it's handling it matches exactly to what we were trained, well, what I'm instructed, what we were trained, and what the staff should do to get that machine to work. I guess why I'm kind of like a little, why I'm like a little obsessed and that kind of stuff is I remember seeing some YouTube videos before, like years ago. I guess it's like one of the factors, but I remember seeing videos of people just, wow, I said that completely wrong. I remember seeing one of the not. Oh god. Let me stop drawing and actually try to speak because I'm losing my mind. One of the videos I tend to see is something about like animation does not match the instruments of how the characters are playing, from piano to trumpets, and I remember seeing that and got me thinking. It's like, all right, so it looks like these people are compromising a lot on that part. I feel like why not actually make it accurate? And I remember seeing like tons and tons of videos of people calling out these animation clips of like Bart Simpson to Tom and Jerry not playing the keys or the notes correctly according to the music itself. So that's, I think ever since I see that video, it got me thinking. It's like, okay, if I want Oswald or any of my characters interacting with said machinery in real life, I want to ensure that what they're doing and what they're performing is exactly what it is. And thankfully, with those machineries, I have personal experience of actually working them, so I know myself how they're supposed to be maintained and operated on by the operator itself. And of course, I mean, just getting that detail. I believe also that sort of attention to detail is also a good form of discipline and also a nice way to give a better appreciation of said machinery itself. Because now you're able to understand more of how to actually operate it. Now you actually learn how to actually take good care of it, and learn when the machine is overwhelmed, that sort of thing. Like it gives like a better relation of what you're working with. So that's why I tend to go extreme on whether it's like on that part and also garments and stuff. I mean, I could keep going, but I feel like I'm going to end up repeating myself. But I also want. All right, so okay, lettering's all done. So I guess I can add. Actually, I'll just add this part. There's actually one last thing I want to add when it comes to details, and that is yes, when it comes to the cheeks. Wow. That's something I tend to notice as well, and that is what I find kind of surprising is this design itself. I know people call it the Cal Out art. I mean, I know it's not people in Cal Art does not draw that, but I mean people do as a joke. But this being design is kind of the standards of today's cartoons. And the one thing I kind of noticed is when I was experimenting and drawing on people like other artists silhouettes and how they do it, it's actually kind of surprising because Dallas Neloku to like older people, they tend to have that similar like head shape, but the gestures and the curve they do it is actually very specific because like for example, if I actually try to draw like this silhouette, so we have the cheek itself like having this sort of like that sort of like curve itself, and then we move down there, it reads off as one character design. Meanwhile, if I end up doing this, and let's say I have like more of a bigger cheek that reads off as another character, it's weird. Like, even though the character designs may be simplistic, it's also very difficult, especially trying to because one simple change of the curve itself changes the entire look of the character entirely. And there were cases when I was doing my sketch, like throwaway sketches in the past. I remember just redoing this cheek so many times because it does not read on what I'm trying to do, on what I'm trying to illustrate. And it's not just like that sort of like beanbag or that bean design itself, but it's also anime as well. Because if I actually just do this, I mean, some people tend to have like that sharp curve like that. Meanwhile, some other people tend to have more of a round shape, and in that case, we have someone like kind of like that. I mean, it's kind of amazing, like just that simple curve and that one little detail like that they put can really make that character that make the artist distinct compared to the others. So it's kind of why how one artist silhouette is different from the other silhouette, all because of how they draw the curves and stuff like that. And I'm not this is not me just knocking shader and some of that. I'm just this is just me observing and just how what I kind of discovered and observed when I was doing my illustrations and how on that sort of thing. I mean, they're good people. Like I don't want to make people think that I don't want people to think something bad. Like I'm just giving my observation. All right. So right now we have okay. So we have this. So we got the lettering all ready to go, and how much time we have for? Oh, 48 seconds. Okay. I'm gonna stop the timer. Um, I'm just going to add in like a bit of detail, like maybe add some. Actually, I don't want to go too crazy. Okay. All right. I think we can conclude round one. I got what I need complete, so that I'm very happy about. So we're gonna do like a 5 to 10 minute break. So for now, if you feel like if there's something that feels like a little off or something that you noticed, definitely let me know. But until then, what I can do is I can actually show you a teaser of one of the il- one of the illustrations that one of the sketches I've been doing. Um, oh, okay, we just had like a sudden disconnect. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Actually, I could just do this. Yeah. So here is. I guess this is a nice way to for our break session. So this is actually a teaser of one of the illustrations I've done. Oh, sorry. Here's one of the teasers of a sketch that is currently work in progress. And this is what I mean about the detail I have. It's not just making the parts itself accurate, and of course, with the size of the canvas and the tools you have, you can only do so much with the details. But also the performance of how the character is doing, I want to ensure that it matches exactly what the actual machine is supposed to. Because, I mean, yeah, I could just get away and just say, okay, maybe Oswald is just holding a wrench and maybe doing like some screws on this piece and that piece. I mean, I could just do that, but I feel like it'll be cheating if I just simply have him just do random stuff left and right and call it a day. Because maybe there's something that maybe I'm just saying, like maybe if someone like who actually works in the machine comes up to me and see this and Oswald is doing something completely wrong and I get called out for it, may not look good. And yeah, it's not the best look. So it's kind of important for me to actually ensure that what he's doing and is exactly according to what we were trained on the machine itself. So that's what I kind of mean when it comes to accuracy and ensuring that it's exactly what it's supposed to. All right. In about 5 minutes, we're gonna go. We're gonna continue on round two. But yeah, have feel free to give your suggestions and stuff like that on this thing, or if you have any questions or something like that. Yeah. With that being said, I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Also, an artist can still make slight variations of their basic template so that a characters can seem distinct from each. For instance, making the cheek a bit sharper and less round can make the character seem more mature. Of course, how much variation there is can depend on the style and sensibility of the artist. It seems like that Pixel roll roll slash Pixel Octane has a relatively versatile template. Yeah, I mean, technically, at the end of the day, this type of silhouette that I like you're seeing right now, you can only do so much with with it. I mean, you can only like I said, the only much you can do is the design of the eyes, maybe the mouth when he smiles or show his teeth, and of course the cheek itself. I mean that's only so much you can do with it. But yeah, I mean, there are people like the person you mentioned. I mean, I did see his his evolution, and he has he did indeed has a good um, variety of designs from proper anime to cartoon. So the dude the dude has a good versatility on that. So that I do like. But yeah, I mean, like what I said. I mean, with this you can only do with the design. Like I'm showing that you can only do so much, but I work with what I have. I mean, I work with the best I can do with what I have. But I guess I have ways to make it more distinct in certain things, like maybe add in extra details or maybe certain things. All right. I'm gonna give myself one more minute, and then we can go on to round two. All right. All right. We can get this out of the way. All right. Um, yeah. I guess I could just conclude on what Annie said is like, yeah, variations itself can also really depend on the taste and style of what the person is influenced by. Because I know artists who's like very influenced from fighting games to people who are influenced through other mediums. So that also does impact the style and that part. So I mean, it's a lot of interesting things that makes an artist from both influence wise and design choices. So I mean, it's always good to see their reasoning and their direction. To me, I find it very interesting. I mean, I have my direction and my taste, and people has theirs. So it's great. It's always great to see what people can make on how they on that stuff like that. I'll just end with that because I feel like we're getting a little crazy on. I feel like we're getting a little off the rails on that topic. All right, so right now we are in round two. So with that, so we have completed on finalizing the line art of the frisbee. Lo, I suppose that leads to the obligatory question of what are your main influences? Wow, that's gonna be a loaded answer for that. I mean, the short answer, Kanye West, but the long answer, a lot of things, a lot of things, but that's for another time. All right, so round two, we got the whole thing finalized and everything all lined up. So that's that. The next, so for round two, the goal is I want to colorize this, add the textures, add the stickers, and just have this thing ready to go. If we have extra time for round two, the next thing I want to do is I want to start adding foliage and details on the background itself. So that's the next step. So for this one, we're gonna keep on with the energetic tunes. So let's go with let's see. I guess it will be interesting. I'm gonna have my timer. But yeah, with my main influence, that's like I said, it's a very loaded answer because it's not just what I observe and what I like, both designer wise to product wise, but it's also, I guess, life experience itself does play a good leading role on the style and the direction I like to take, whether it's illustrations to story writing. Because before this, I mean, I went through like many different detours and stuff like that. So that does left a good impression on certain things and events that led to actually some creations and story ideas in itself. So that also does play a part. I mean, what I will say is the story sells where, of course, where Oswald is. That's heavily influenced during my event when I had a job at a farmer's market, actually. And I don't want to spoil too much, considering this is like the beginning of it all, but it was it was like a totally different time, and at that era, I was looking for like a full-time job because I was a contractor for sports broadcasting. So that was the thing, and yeah, like I said, it's my first full-time job, and I was trying my best to be like the best staff member there. Um, Unfortunately, things doesn't go as is, and the things I've learned from that event, even though it was short, does left a good impact later down the line, and does help me understand my limitations and things I cannot do. That's so far I will say in that part, because there's a lot more on that I don't want to disclose. But I would say some illustrations that you'll see from Oswald is kind of like how it's kind of the things I had to went through during that time. That's I'll say. Now that's gonna irk me. Yeah, so what I'm doing now is I'm just making some quick touch-ups on this piece, just so it looks accurate, much like just so it looks clean, to the best of my abilities. Yeah, I think we can just leave it at that. If there's still elements that irks me, that I can just always go back and just fix it up. But if I keep on doing this, it's going to eat up most of my time. So I want to get a move on. All right, let me get the. Yeah, so we'll take this and. Yeah, actually, the color of this is already fine, so let's scope this. Uh-huh. Good thing I caught that. Okay, so we got the color itself. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna split the colors. So I'm gonna go with inner, and we're gonna go with gold. I know some people, they tend to just simply have one layer and just have all the colors, but like I keep saying, I want to have maximum control when it comes to how I do my things. So even if it means having to separate layers of colors, that'd be great, because I guess example is when I was working on Roll's gift art back in February, each color of both the character and the background all has a unique layer in itself. And yeah, it did overwhelm the PC because yeah, there's so many layers. It's necessary because there were cases when I was trying to do the lighting effect. In the February release of that gift art itself, it has that one tone of color, and when I was doing that, I mean, it worked, but I wasn't very satisfied by how it looks. Like, it felt rather unfinished. So during the May revision, thanks to my ability to have separate layers, I was able to individually control each color and adjust the shading and the tone of it to match with the new background and the new lighting that I installed. I mean, it may not be seen now, but I feel like that once we get to the shading and the lighting and shading phase, that's when this will start to help. This will help. So I'm going to get rid of all this. Yeah, I'm going to get rid of all this. I guess what I can add when it comes to the influence. I mean, even though I did joke about Mr. West being one of my influence, I mean, in a way, it kind of did. Like, I mean, not counting all the bad stuff he's done. I mean, those are unforgivable. But on the other side, I mean, the ability that how he's able to be very versatile on both music-wise to fashion-wise and of course architecture-wise. It's just amazing how he can just do it and just go with it. I mean, that I actually do like, because he's not restrained over just one medium or one style. He's willing to risk it and just try something different, even if it's like something that he's not familiar or comfortable with. I mean, of course, there are flunks. I mean, I haven't forgotten him trying to operate in school, which, I mean, that's a big no-no. Let's say that. Although, when you said Mr. West, for a second I thought you meant Banneret. Banneret? Who are you referring to, Annie? But yeah, it's like, to be honest, my interest of Miss of Yay is actually kind of like a bit of late in the game, because I mean I remember listening a bit of his songs like during in 2017 18, bit of 2018 and 19 when My Life as Pablo was still hot. um yeah, I remember that time, like I did enjoy it, but it didn't like went full on invested in the whole music, because at that timeline, actually I wasn't really into rap as much as I am today, because back then oh my god. Well, I just say I was kind of one of those like kid. I was kind of like one of those people that just say like rap music is for loser, pop music for losers. I would listen to like back then I would just listen to nothing but hardcore techno, gabber, maybe some drum and bass. Like that was my library back then. Like it was kind of like kind of like limited on just that perspective itself. Um, but I guess you could say that album is kind of one of the gateways that led me into it. I mean, I didn't listen to every track in that album, only like certain elements of that album, like Famous to Wolves. Um, what is it? The last song on the album, I forgot the name of it, but I only listened to like the top tracks in that project. But I guess the one artist that led me, it's like the true gateway of me into hip hop, was actually Young Lean. Back when vaporwave was still in a pinnacle, Young Lean was one of the people who actually hopped into that trend. And oh my god, the first album I listened from Young Lean was actually Unknown Death. Like that was awesome. Like it has a mix between spacey, that sort of like spacey vibe, sad boy vibes, like the emo rap, like everything I always wanted. And yeah, that was like that was the true moment that I was into the whole rap game, the world itself. I was referring to our local artist Righteous Intrusive Banneret, who's also goes by Wesley Banneret. Oh, um, huh. Yeah, I apologize, but I'm not too familiar with that individual itself. I mean, I'll take a look at his work in during break. Just remind me. But yeah, I'd say the true gateway was actually Young Lean. That was the, like I said, um, Unknown Death 2003, and damn, what's the other album? I have to look up right now. Hang on. Come on. Unknown Memory. That's it. Unknown Memory. Yeah, yeah. Those two albums were. That was like the best. That was like the theme song during that era. Like that was like, especially like at the time I was living in Philly for a short while, and just listening to that track when I was commuting on the train for a good 2 hours, like late at night, to wandering around in the park like um, aimlessly. That that was that was something. Like it definitely defined that timeline when I was studying and kind of didn't know what I wanted to do, I guess. But I guess that kind of snowballed to where I am today, where I'm constantly listening to people like, yeah, Ye, to um, Kendrick Lamar, to JPEG Mafia. Like it gives me now an appreciation to that world that I wasn't fond of before. Actually, I have some mixtapes in my collection that I saved during that era, so actually maybe during round 3 I can actually play them. Alright, so the inner ring is... Whoa. Yeah, I might as well just get this thing done. I'm gonna go too specific so we can just do this. Of course, just having a reference of what I'm looking at, that's kind of important. I mean, it'll be easier if I can just do this. Do that. Okay, so we can just do this. I'm going to eliminate that and do that. Almost there. Alright, we got 37 minutes left, so not too bad, but I feel like we gotta catch up a bit. All right. Yeah. Let me fix that.
Now you're leaving just like that. Where are you going?
I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
There we go. Yeah, I hate to do that, but I mean, for something like that, I mean, I just prefer not having that sort of promo or bots um, polluting the feed. I don't know if it sounds mean, but it's just I don't want that here. I don't want that. I just want to try to clean it as much as I can.
I'm not going to die. I'm alive. I have to do this thing.
All right, I'd say we can have one more color and inner. That's gonna be the middle sticker. Wow, there's another thunderstorm tonight. It's kind of unusual. Oops. I'm not sure if you guys can hear the thunderstorm, but Jesus. A thunderstorm also passed through my area. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what is it today. Or these past 2 days. It's just so weird. I mean, all I'll say is hopefully you're safe up there, Annie. Hopefully the rain is not too harsh. Yeah, you can really hear the thunderstorm. That's not. That's. Hopefully it doesn't knock us out in the air. Let's say that. Okay, we got that. We got that sorted out. Now I'm gonna handle the writing. We got 29 minutes left, so we can still got some time. Yeah, I'm generally safe from the inclement weather from my building. Even building Hurricane Sandy, when I lost power for a week, there wasn't actually any damage to the building. I think most that has happened from bad weather is some flooding in the lobby. All right, well, I mean, the important part is you're safe. That's the important part. But oh geez, Hurricane Sandy. I mean, I remember when that happened. I mean, thankfully nothing happened in my area when that incident occurred. But I know some some classmates weren't so lucky. Thankfully, no one. I mean, everyone's safe. Everyone's alive, thankfully. But I mean, I've heard people who. I mean, I've seen like videos of their houses being flooded up to like floor level, and it's just Jesus. And like the severity of the flooding on certain regions down here is just not fun. I mean, it's just horrible. I mean, honestly, I don't know if some people actually recovered from that incident. It was that bad, but I do hope that we don't get something like that in the future, because yeah, wasn't fun for everyone. But yeah, I did mention this yesterday, where the worst that happens here is there's. I'm gonna try and do this while I talk. I mean, the worst that happens here is usually when it gets like really bad on for rain. There's I guess the best way to do it is to actually illustrate it. What's happened is, I mean, there's my driveway right here, and let's see. I mean, that's my car right there, and this is like the driveway of it. There's like this, there's just like this sewage line that's supposed to, of course, collect all the water. But the issue is that thing gets clogged so easily. And with this area itself right here, it's actually slightly concave, and that's been like that ever since, as far as I remember. So what happens is, when it gets like way too flooded, the water will actually flood this area right here, and it gets pretty deep. Like, imagine like this being my car, it can actually go like something like that. Like, it gets kind of that, it gets that bad. Lately it's gotten so bad that it actually leaks in front of the neighbor's patio, like the neighbor's yard, which is, oh geez, like, why isn't that fixed? But yeah, what has happened is, before, when I actually go to work, my car will actually be parked like this, facing away. So when I get out, I have to reverse and get into this region right here, and it's not very safe because I don't want water in the engine. One time, I actually tried to do this this maneuver of driving up here, reverse, and then going around so my car can face that way. And it was like 20 minutes before my shift, so I was driving like this here, and this area is like all grassy and all muddy. And what I didn't realize is that there were some like holes. So while I was driving, one of the I got caught into this area right here, and I got stuck. And I remember texting my coworkers and saying like, "Hey, I won't be able to arrive. My car gets stuck." And I was trying my best to break free. Like, I even got out of the car to pull it out. Like, I was trying to push it in all my might, hoping it breaks free. But of course, to no avail. That was until I keep on like going forward and backward until I finally broke free. Right as I got unstuck, I kind of like flew back a bit. Thankfully, I stopped in time before I hit something. But yeah, that was. Ever since, I never did that again. And ever since, I always park my car toward the streets, so in case an incident like that arrives, I can just simply dash off without worrying about it. And to better explain like how bad that flood is, even like some people who has like pickup trucks and Jeeps, they too suffered issues getting through that area itself. Like, some will actually try to drive through the lawn, and that's enough to get stuck. Their cases is actually worse than mine. So thankfully they got unstuck, but that's quite an annoyance on their end. But yeah, that's the crappy. That's a, I guess you can say, poo-poo situation. That's, I'll say. Not bad, but we can do better. Yeah, that bee is annoying me. Let me just find another reference if I can find it. Wow, I can see the light. I can see the thunder from here, like through the through the blinds. It's always like that. Add in some weight on these. Whoops. Getting better, getting better. S looks a little off, but we can fix that. Yeah, that's it.
let's insert that part.
And
Alright, I guess we have to keep on pushing that part. Yeah, this is the part I fear the most, which is adding the leaves.
alright, I'm gonna replay the track. We'll switch to a new mixtape after once we head to round 3. I never had a disaster here. uh, yep, that's my response. How you doing tonight? Here being wherever Shirley in Austria. But yeah, Tweety, I'm doing all right.
I'm doing alright and I'm okay. One day today, hopefully tomorrow, better days. That's all I think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. Alright, we got 10 minutes left. I'm going to keep on pushing just a bit because I want to get the leaf thing done. This is like the most time-consuming part, and wow, this is already annoying. But like I said, it has to be done.
Yeah, I think we can.
And move on better life, that's for sure. So there you go. Okay.
And with that being said, better day, better year, life, and moving forward this year for sure. Oh, jeez, like, I can hear like all the vibrations and all the thunderstorms. Like, this is starting to not become normal.
We got 5 minutes left. Let's try and keep on pushing. I mean, it's not. I'll say it's not too bad. I just may have to fix some things, but that can be fixed later. Firework battle. We're making good progress. Making good progress. That's all that matters. Yeah, it may not be like perfect, but considering how warped this perspective is, I'm gonna have to work with what I have. Like, I have to work around it in some way. Okay. Time. Okay, so this is the end of round two. I mean, for what we have, I just did some quick refinement on the colors, and I began adding the details of the lettering. Um, I wasn't able to do as much as I hope, but I know that this middle part should be easier because all it is just adding in this middle part, and since I have more room, I can just add in the details on that part. So when it comes to the milestone for today, I am I'm slowly accomplishing what I want. So that part I'm happy about. For round three, I'm aiming on just finishing up the middle part, doing some last minute tweaking, and with the extra time that we have, I'm going to work on the background. If I'm unable to do that, then I'd say tomorrow will be the best day for me to adding the details in the background. But I mean, for what it is, I mean, we're making good progress. That's all that matters. So for now, I'm just going to just going to give myself another 5 minutes, and yeah. If you have, as usual, if you have any suggestions or something you've discovered like a little bit off, then definitely do let me know, and I'll be sure to fix that for round three. Already, I'm seeing some elements that needs to be fixed, but I'll get to that in just a moment. So, give myself a 5 minute timer. I'll let them. Actually, I'm going on two. Just so there's no radio silent. Let's just have something. Um, yeah, this will do. All right, looks like we got four viewers. That's actually pretty good. All right, thankfully the rain has stopped, so that is encouraging. Yeah, what I need is I need to design like a timer on screen so people will know that this is currently a break session. Maybe during the weekend I'll design something like that. Yeah, just a couple more minutes and we'll move on to round three. Okay. All right, I think I'm pretty much good to go. All right, let's start. All right, let's start round three. So as mentioned, um, my goal is I want to get the middle part, the wording complete, and once I'm done with that, I'm gonna make some last minute tweaks of some of the shapes because I noticed something looks a little off. Once I'm done with that, with the extra time that I have, I'm gonna move on and start working in the background. So that's the plan for today. All right, we'll just switch tunes. I know that I said there's like a playlist that I want to show. Um, yeah, actually, let's do it. Oh, before I do that, actually, I'm curious. Let's let the thing keep playing. Who's that person that you told? Okay, intrusive banneret. Just want to see who this person is. Oh, this guy. I see this guy is also in New York. Um, yeah, I haven't got like a good chance to see his his collection, but so far it looks pretty plentiful. Like there's actually a good amount of stuff he's making. I'm liking his. Sorry, I was drinking water and it came to the wrong tube. Yeah, it's not. Hang on. All right, should be fine. I do like the details of the buildings, and oh, so he's the one who drew that. Yeah, let's give me an extra minute. I just want to see. Holy okay, yeah, this guy can do it. I love how yeah, I mean, the one thing I love is the color palette is kind of like very mute. It's kind of mute. Makes it easier, makes it pleasant to see, and definitely does have like a lot of interesting stuff. I have to really, actually soon I'm gonna have to um, have a good deep dive in this guy's collection because there's a lot of good stuff. Oh, I see he plays Animal Crossing as well. But yeah, thanks Annie for letting me know about him. I know he did appear yesterday's session, so uh, let's see, Mr. West or Bannerhead, if you're listening, I like your work. It's pretty good. I like it, especially your comics. Definitely, I'm gonna have a good time. When I have the time, I'm going to definitely take a look at your work because it is pretty interesting. So I'll say that. Do keep up the good work. Yeah, definitely. I do want to see. Yeah, I do want to. I would like to contact him. Like, how does he met? I want to see. I want to learn his process in buildings because this is like this is impressive. Like the architecture. That's like the. I have to reach him out sometimes. All right. Yeah, let's not get too loose. Let's not get too distracted. Okay. All right, let's move on to round three. I have promised that we're going to. I'm going to show you a playlist, mixtape that I listened to during that era, back when I first discovered Kanye and Young Lee. So this is. I think this is the right track. This is called "Trapped in Heaven." Uh, Hopefully, you like it.
This is beside you and young down upon the beat, like a fat lumped unidentificator.
All right, let's get to round three. I'll be sure to let him know about what you said regarding. Okay, okay. Thank you, Annie. Yeah, in a way, I kind of feel bad that I haven't got a chance to really admire or actually explore other people's work around this circle because most of my time is mostly occupied on both my work and stuff, so I tend to just simply overlook other stuff. But that doesn't mean I'm actively ignoring it. It's just I just wasn't aware. But I mean, I'm always happy to see other people's work and stuff with like the showcase and see what they got. Yeah, so what you're listening to, it is called Trapped in Heaven. It is from, I think, the YouTube channel Emotional Tokyo. And this was during the era when Vaporwave and Vapor Trap was like in the highest. Back then, yeah, this was in the era when SoundCloud rap was like on its peak. And that's when XXX Tentacion, if you know him, he is, I guess, one of the pioneers behind that. So I think everyone else is kind of like leaping towards that, towards his success during that period. So a lot of these tracks tend to come from SoundCloud itself, and yeah, it does write off that sort of like emotional, emo tone, but of course also takes elements from Vaporwave itself. So, and I also remember during that era, that's when Facebook was like popular and not as not as demonized as today. So back then, I remember just looking at all of the Facebook pages that occurred during that time, and I remember saving a good amount of stuff, mostly like vaporwave stuff, emos, like sad boys type of vibe. Like I still have a collection of like my mood board through folders that I may show sometime, but it was a totally different era. Oh, and also that was like the time when Supreme and Off-White was like on its peak. That was also, I definitely remember that, like the hype beast era. That I remember damn well. That was something. I'm not sure if anyone remember that period, but that was when that's when I don't know. It's like I guess at the time, like, like I said, it was a totally different era, not like today. And I remember back then, if you want to show off your wealth or show your status, having like a bunch of logos was like the way to go. So back then, yeah, Gucci, Supreme, Off-White, they were heavily on branding, so it made sense during that period. So if you have like, let's say the latest Supreme collab with North Face, that was like the hottest thing back then. It's surprising how times change, because 6 years ago that was like the hot thing, but I feel like nowadays, considering today's climate, it's kind of looked down upon. So most people are leaning towards more minimalism / brandless clothing, which is surprising because I guess it's kind of like, yeah, like I said, the climate we are in today is not the best time to do it. And of course, there's also other factors of like designers, like trading hands, so that it was, yeah. All right, at this point, I'll shut up. I'll let the music do the talking. still water that I'm trying to get out. Yeah, so it looks like the font they're using is Futura Condense. I mean, I could just throw in the text and just do it right there, but I feel like it would become like a little out of place, so that's why I'm preventing myself from doing that. Yeah, I remember this type of track, like this mixtape. Oh man, like my time in Philly when I used to live there for a short time, like this was like the way to go. Like every time when I do my like all-nighters or hiding inside the library, just to do some some studying or just watching a movie or something like that, like this was the song I used to listen to all the time, especially wandering out like late at night, like 3 a.m. Yeah, it's like it was a totally different era, and in a way, I kind of miss it, but at the same time, I don't. I don't want to go back through the days of burnout, but at the same time, I just miss like that. As I mentioned, how differently Facebook was viewed way back when, I can definitely remember that time. It's interesting how different the landscape of social media sites was around 10 years ago, even just for artists. Even had actually a vibrant community, and Tumblr was pretty much the height of niche communities. But what I gather, the period somewhere in 2013 and 16 seems to be remembered fondly by a few online descendants. Yeah, definitely 10 years ago, it was a totally different era. I guess you could say back then, it was kind of like the final years of its pinnacle, of its golden years. I mean, if we're talking about Facebook, 10 years ago, yeah, Facebook used to be a totally different era, like a totally different environment than it was today. Because back then, it wasn't as controlled and as demanding compared to what it is now. I guess in a way, to best compare, Facebook back then in 2015 to 18 is kind of like what X or Twitter is today, if that makes sense. Like, it was a lot more loose, and people on the right tend to flock in that area a lot. Like, you get a good. Of course, there are a lot of bad things that happened during that time where fake news was still considered like a new thing, and you get a lot of nasty things. Like, regulations back then wasn't as strict as today, and they haven't got the idea of like data hashing, image hashing, or algorithms. So you tend to get away witnessing horrible things. That's like something I don't miss. But at the same time, but on the flip side, you do get a lot more creative and interesting stuff that you wouldn't able to see nowadays. But yeah, I would say, I mean, I don't want to get this too. In this part, I don't want to go too political, but I just wanted to mention this piece just to tell you how it was back then. I remember during the election year of 2016, it was a totally different era, like I said. And in Facebook, I definitely remember at that time, there were definitely a lot of memes, especially Pepe. That was like the big thing back then. And it does paint a particular guy in a good light. I mean, of course, there's a lot of factors, but I would say the internet, especially what it was back then, does help influence the election during that time, and definitely did because oh man, that was something. But DeviantArt itself, I would say, yeah, 10 years ago, it used to be vibrant, and I know a lot of the OGs in this community did originate on DeviantArt. That's how I met some people 10 years ago, thanks to DeviantArt itself. And I'll forever treasure that moment. But yeah, of course, you do get the niches, quote unquote. It still flocks in today, but I can definitely tell they have really clamped it down than it was back then. Because yes, I do remember back then, there was a time when I was actually anti at that period, and one of the popular things to do on YouTube in 2013 to 15 was actually looking up cringe things online, especially on DeviantArt and a bit of Tumblr. That was like I remember that was the thing, like one of the popular things to do. So at the time, being like the naive self, I tend to just simply flock over, looking at finding cringe stuff and say mean things, and obviously the response is what you expect. People just simply say piss off. I mean, I didn't know any better, and I do regret that. But thankfully, there were some people that did help me knock some sense out of me, and I'm no longer that kind of person anymore. But yeah, DeviantArt was, like I said, a different era, and I feel kind of sad what it is today, because ever since they updated the look and the ever since they updated the UI of DeviantArt, I feel like that's when it got downhill. I mean, I know that a lot of people on the YouTube side, they tend to complain a lot about the UI changes on YouTube. And I do get that, because back then it used to be a lot more decorative. But I do feel like ever since DeviantArt does change their UI and their aesthetic, it really did affect the community altogether. And I did notice, like, ever since they clamped down a lot of the niches, especially some artists, they tend to flock over to other places like Pixif and Twitter. So it's kind of unfortunate. Tumblr itself, I mean, even though I didn't really participate as much on Tumblr, I did have my days in there, and I remember that's when bronies, in a way, cultivate in that area itself, along with other niches. I don't have too much memories of Tumblr. All I do know, I guess one of the stigmas was back then was it was kind of the place where hipsters tend to flourish, because that was like the same period when hipsters was a thing. So I remember Tumblr was like the safe haven for that. I definitely do remember that time. But I do remember ever since Tumblr really enforced their suggestive content to an extreme level, I definitely remember the reason why they did that is because their app was taken off from the App Store because of some what has happened. So Tumblr had no choice but to really clamp down on suggestive content. And I think that, I mean, I know it's not true, but I just want to say it. I just want to believe it. But I say ever since they clamped down on that stuff, it really destroys the whole community of Tumblr itself, and that led to many artists just flocking over to other places. I know there's other factors that causes its downfall, but I know that was like one of the biggest things. And to help talk about like how bad it was, I remember someone tested out Buzz Lightyear, just 3 panels: the head, the torso, and the legs. And the legs that features the middle part, that was like censored, and it was just a regular Buzz Lightyear, taken from Pixar. It's not like a fan art. Like, that's how strict it was. So I would say it was like I said, it wasn't fun, and oh boy. To be honest, I mean, even though like I have some memories on those social media platforms, I was mostly on YouTube for the most part. That was kind of like my go-to on when it comes to finding content or people. It was just mostly on YouTube. To tell the truth, I have never been to Twitter at all until November of last year. I have never been to Twitter at all, mostly because I don't even know how to work Twitter, and I only use it because I just want to I guess show off my work. Same with other platforms. Like, I have never used Instagram, I have never used Twitter, I have never used TikTok until I began ICO. Like, straight up, like I have never touched those platforms at all. Mostly because I never had the need to, and it's like, I already have YouTube. Why would I migrate to other places that are ludicrous? In my opinion. Of course, I had dabbled to these platforms time to time, both mostly on professional uses, like scheduling content for promos and adverts on the social media feed. I remember doing that, but for personal use, never did. I mean, you could say taking a harder stance on just content had ripple effects, since the site getting overall less traffic probably affected even communities that were entirely safe for work. Also, like you said, the policies probably become the strongest and affected even tame work. But I would say that Tumblr had fared much better than DeviantArt and still had vibrant communities, but in reduced form and mostly self-contained on the platform. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Tumblr is still going on, even though it is not as big as it was. I'd say if I had to choose between DeviantArt and Tumblr, even though I had never seen what Tumblr is today, I guess I would have to say Tumblr, because ever since DeviantArt introduces the whole AI art thing, I don't know, it's like ever since they introduced that, it really flooded the whole feed, and it kind of destroys any sense of wanting to go in there, because the first thing I see when I come to DeviantArt is AI images. I mean, in the beginning it was alright when it was like a couple people doing it as like, excuse my French, shitpost. But when it's like in your face all the time, especially when it's recommended to you like through the home feed, that's when I have a problem, and that's when I feel like heavily discouraged. It's like, why would I bother posting my work there if they're just recommending AI work? it just kind of destroys the whole point. Like it definitely DeviantArt has really shifted their approach on everything ever since their UI change. And it's kind of sad because I still have fond memories of my time there. That's how I met some people in the circle 10 years ago. And just seeing what it is today is just upsetting. But since you mentioned Tumblr, like again, I haven't thought of that for a while, like for a long time. Maybe one day I might actually open an account and actually experiment on that platform as well. Because I mean, I'm not going to I'm not exclusive to any platforms. Also, unlike DeviantArt, Tumblr offers a lot of freedom and leeway for posting and designing your profile. That's actually pretty interesting. Yeah, I know one of the selling factors on Tumblr in the early days is customizability. Like you can really do a lot of things. I mean, not like as crazy as MySpace, but still, it's like I remember people back then tend to go crazy with it. So I want to see what is it today. I mean, if we're talking about customization, one of the ideas, one of the back-end projects I want to do is I want to build my own website. I mean, I've done it before under my previous venture. Not the one before, but the one before. But I like the idea of having my own space, not constrained by anyone. I mean, that's something I would like to take to the next level. But for now, it's just an idea. But I'm not afraid to try out other platforms and see what they have to offer. I mean, I've already tried out Canva and Kara, and so far it's working. But I don't have anything worthy to show just yet in that platform. I do know that I have purposely halted posting on Instagram because, for what I heard, ever since they introduced their policy of harvesting people's posts for their AI, I don't like to participate, and I don't want to contribute their practice. So that's why I'm kind of temporarily halting Instagram until the time being. I originally started posting Tumblr in addition to posting my artwork. I'm kind of making a blog to showcase the many reference images I have from various animated works, particularly stitched screenshots. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, my plan when it comes to my posting is this. For each, I know for each social media platforms, they have their own unique way of distributing and showcasing people's work. I mean, currently my plan is, when it comes to sketches, free-for-alls, progress, and stuff like that, I tend to focus on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky the most for that. That way I can show my work in progress and things I've done, from sketches to progress, that sort of thing. And for finished works, like finished illustrations, I tend to rely on, of course, Instagram, like all the platforms, like I mentioned, but also DeviantArt, Pixiv, like all the other platforms as well. And I have been experimenting a bit on adjusting how I distribute on each platforms because I know some are different. I know there are some people in the circle that have experimented a bit on other platforms. Like I know one guy, when he posts his work on Pixiv, he made the title and everything Japanese. So of course it's for a Japanese audience. So that's something I want to experiment on that part as well. I mean, to some they may find it annoying or like off-putting to do all that, but to me it's kind of interesting to see how you distribute the work on different platforms and see how it works. To me, I find it interesting. But definitely soon I'm going to try out Tumblr and see how that works, because it's always good to try out different platforms and see what sticks. Because I feel like you're kind of limiting yourself if you just stick to just one platform itself. Smoke.
Do you honestly think you're fucking funny? Seriously. You're a fucking ugly little cunt, mate. If I ever see you, I'm gonna fucking slit your fucking face.
Oh man, I forgot this song.
Damn. This is a certified hood classic.
For the reason stated, I don't plan on posting on Instagram, and I'm too much of a boomer millennial to ever use TikTok. But I'm forced to use Twitter because it appears to be the platform with the most artists. Yeah, with TikTok, it's like... I mean, I've used TikTok. I mean, I've recently been getting used to TikTok, mostly just to save videos of like memes and ideas. Like I also use it as kind of like a video version of Pinterest, because there are some good stuff in there that I tend to like to save for future use. When it comes to posting content on TikTok, honestly, I don't have any like any plans or ideas of what to make for TikTok. I mean, I know there's some direction to take it, but to me, I don't want to make that kind of content because it feels rather, to my standards, unprofessional. And considering what I do, it just feels kind of childish of the stuff people make. Like I don't want to create content that's like, there's a word about, I don't want to say it, but very stimulating and always attention seeking, like always on your eyes. That's kind of what I'm trying to say. Like I don't want to jingle keys on people's faces like all day long. Like I feel like that's kind of insulting to the person. Pixis is also a solid place to post art. I get a decent amount of traction considering I don't really have a name. I mean, I've used Pixiv on my previous venture, and it does give me a good amount of traction, even though it's focusing a lot on anime. The stuff I made back then was mostly cartoons, especially Western cartoons, especially one popular cartoon, The Loud House, that got a lot of traction. Yeah, it was definitely... I know Pixiv is a good thing, but the thing is, I don't want to show off sketches and work in progress because I feel like that's not the right platform to show it. I know some other artists in the circle do it, but in fact, maybe I can experiment on that. I could try that. Like I know there are some artists in there that instead of just posting individual work in progress, they did it like a compilation of all their work in progress into one post. Actually, that's something I could try. Yeah, actually I could do that. Look at me, just getting ideas on the fly while streaming. All right, so yeah, it looks like we got the let's get rid of this. So we got this done. I mean, it may not look good yet, but that's okay because once we get to the shading, this will definitely look a lot better. Hopefully. Yeah, I think you should utilize Pixiv as for work in progress. Actually, I was gonna say you should compile them in one post. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I did see other artists, both in the circle and out, who did such thing. So I'm gonna do just that. Like I'd say, once I reach like 10 sketches posted, then I'm going to compile them all and then put in the Pixiv. That's the idea. I think I already hit that milestone. Let me double check. Whoops. Almost. Once I post the 10th sketch on Twitter, then I'll do the compilation on Pixiv. I just need to leave like a note or something so I remember. Alright, I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try and add in the rims of this part of the frisbee right here. That way I can kill the rest of the time for round 3. Alright, I think for the rest of the time, I'm not going to speak as much because I think my throat is starting to shut out. I'm actually not used to speaking this much, so I'm still getting used to it. In a way, I do feel bad that I started a little late. I was supposed to start at 1800 EST. However, after I ate, I just immediately crashed for a good 2 hours because I was a bit sleep deprived. So when I woke up, I just felt awful. So I just tried to rush everything up and get to the session. Like, I wish I had more time today to actually do this, but I mean, 3 hours is not bad, I guess.
Damn. I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know you taste this a little bit. Everybody knows basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice.
Let's go.
think we're gonna need a smaller brush.
I recognize your fragrance. Hold up, you ain't never gotta say shit. And I know you taste this a little bit. High maintenance. Everybody else basic. You live life on an everyday basis with poetic justice. Poetic justice.
Actually, it's a little easier if I could just restart, so... Yeah, if I keep adjusting like this, it's gonna drive me nuts, so I'm just gonna do this. Okay, we're gonna do number 5 on the brush size, and let's start this again. Alright, we're approaching the 20-minute mark. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Just have to be careful once you get lower down the rings on the rims. Alright, see you in a minute. I'm gonna try out something.
just open the window slightly so that way we can get proper ventilation in this room because I'm actually slow suffocating. Oh, the music's all over? That's short. Alright, we'll just replay for the rest of the time.
This is beside you and young down upon the beach, like a fat loved and get educated.
Whoops. Let's put that back there. Alright, we've got 14 minutes left. The one thing I want to add is there's like this center. Oh, I forgot. Okay. Before I continue on the rims, I want to get, let's see, in between. There's this white part, like this white strip in the middle of this lane, and actually here there's actually the gold strip. So I'm going to take care of those two, and I think we can conclude for today's session. Yeah, the best part with this is like when it comes down to it, if I feel like I don't like the color, like if it's like too bright, I can always just do this. I can just go here, color overlay, and take this and adjust it to my will. So if I want it like that, and yeah, that's I can do that. For now, I'm going to stick with this because I think that's kind of the color. I mean, again, we can always adjust if we have to.
tricky on this end, but yeah, we got 8 minutes left, so I'm gonna just rush this up, and I can refine this tomorrow.
Try me if you think I'm bullshit.
Look at this. The brother finally decides to stand up like a man and throw down.
It's over. Everything starts from now.
Yeah, I need to find a way to rotate this canvas because
Ain't no one man above the crew. You know that shit.
this part is kind of irritating me a bit. That part is taken care of. I'm going to take care of the white ring, and then we'll conclude for today.
Crazy, man. You know what? When you said that last time, I was kind of tripping, right? But now,
Okay, so this part is... Come on. There we go. So it's actually in the middle right here, so it's even more challenging. Okay. Okay, 4 minutes left. I could just do this. And work my way around it. Yeah, I'm just gonna sloppily do this, and look. There we go. And now I can just work my way around it.
Yeah, I'm also noticing that we've been going like on and off connections, and I think it's messing up the VODs and Twitch. Like it's actually splitting each segment of the session. So I'm gonna have to find a way to fix that. I think that if I just... So I've been connecting through the Ethernet using a wireless transmitter. So if I'm gonna try and just go full on Wi-Fi for the next session and see if that fixes the problem. But if not, then I'm afraid I'm gonna have to just keep it as that, because honestly, at that point, I have no control beyond that. But I mean, I still have the recordings of my sessions, and they're all in full. So once I open up the YouTube channel dedicated on just the sessions, I can just plop it on there like full on raw and just call it a day. Alright, we hit the timer, but I want to keep on working it just a bit. Yeah, just give me 5 more minutes and we can conclude this. Yeah, now that my throat is relaxed, I'm not as suffocating as I was. Yeah, it's like I'm so not used to speaking as much, so like this is all like new to me. All right. I'm gonna hit. All right. I'm gonna hit time. All right. That's the end of round three. That this is so far we have. It may not look like much, but I mean, for progress for today, we managed to get the lettering refined, have the coloring all itself sorted out, and of course, I got the lettering itself complete. Huh. Let me fix that. All right. Oddly enough, you're not appearing, but that's okay. Whatever. All right. All right. We got the lettering done, coloring, the text, the details. Um, I haven't like fully got technically right now on its stance. Darn, one last spot intrusion before the stream ends. Well, I mean, at least it's not Dusk's because I know he happens. I know when I did my practice Discord streams, Dusk will appear like the very last minute. So, um, thankfully, it's not him. But all right. The only thing that I need to by tomorrow, all I have to fix is I want to finalize both the gold and the white strip around it, and I want to finalize the rims. That's the only part we have to finish for tomorrow. But yeah, once we're done with that, then I can finally focus on the background. I think the background might be easier because it won't be as detail intensive compared to the Frisbee. So I feel like tomorrow we'll be dedicating on just the background itself. I don't think Friday I will be available for the session because there's an event I have to be in. So in that case, I might have to push the deadline back to Saturday. Worst comes to worst, we'll extend it to Sunday, if that's possible. And by next week, we can move on to another prompt. Um, that's my hope. I should be able to begin the session tomorrow earlier. That way we have more time. That way I have more time to knock some things down. But that's so far for today. I mean, it has. I mean, so far we're making good progress, even though it's so slow. But yeah, I mean, nothing much I can really add. But yeah, all I can say is I appreciate the people who were viewing, um, suggest me things. I mean, definitely there are some ideas already. I'll take that Pixiv idea into note. So I'll experiment with that. But other than that, thank you all so much for visiting today's session. I should have another. There will be another session tomorrow. I'm gonna try and do a little earlier, but until then, everyone have a good evening.